Today for lesson 5.4 we're going to look at how to take two integers and multiply them. So in other words, we're multiplying integers. We know how to add integers, and we also learned how to subtract with integers. So let's take a look at a problem here. Let's start off with a -5, and I'm going to multiply my -5 by -7. Now here's something new for all of us. We are doing a multiplication problem, but you notice that there's no dot here and no X. There's no multiplication symbol. So from here on out, whenever you see two numbers next to one another like this, especially if they're separated in parentheses, all that really means is multiplication. Now another little tip that I want you guys to remember. Whenever we have two negatives, our answer, although it seems strange, always ends up being a positive. So a negative times a negative is always going to be a positive. So negative and negative, I can just look at it this way. 5 times 7, and I know that that is 35. And remember, negative times a negative equals a positive, so it's just 35. Let's look at a different problem where we have two different values. One of the integers is going to be positive, the other integer is going to be negative. So let's take -8, and I'm going to multiply that by 2. So since one of my integers is negative and one of them is positive, my answer is always going to end up being a negative. So if I look at -8 times 2, 8 times 2 is 16, and I had my negative symbol here before because a negative times a positive is always a negative. Let's look at one more. Let's say we have this time a -12, and I'm going to multiply it by 0. Well, just like with regular multiplication, if I have a negative integer times 0, the answer is going to end up being a 0. If we think back, 0 is the one integer that really can't be negative or positive, so I can't have a -0. I just end up with 0. So I want you to remember that. Any integer, negative or positive, times 0 is always going to end up being 0.